Hi, Indie Witches. Lovely to meet you. I'm FREAQ. How did FREAQ come to be? I started singing opera when I was 4 years old, and then I started jazz when I was about 8 or 9, and then I started writing my own music when I was 14. So it was a very long journey for me, and growing up, my mother was an artist, a visual artist, and she helped me really during those formative years. So most of it was thanks to her. The name FREAQ came after many years in middle school and high school of being bullied, and I was called a control freak, a loner, many things, and that came with a lot of shame and guilt after high school. But then I felt like I could start to feel empowered by that name and own it. And so once I landed on that for my stage name, it just all kind of made sense. My songwriting process comes more from poetry. I like to write a lot of abstract stream of consciousness poetry, which doesn't necessarily make for a great listenable song. But it took me many years to get down the process of transforming that and molding it into more of a listenable experience that had more pop tendencies. And I had a lot of help with that from Mike Irish at Shifted Recording Studios in Brooklyn. He really helped me kind of transform that poetry into something that was much more listenable and interesting, but still had an edge of me in it. Well, I started singing and performing since I was 4 years old, so a lot has changed since then. But this EP is really the first thing that feels very close to my heart, and a lot of the subject matter is very recent, and I'm excited to see how people interpret it in their own way. Since I changed my name about 6 months ago, that's been on my mind a lot. I'd like to eventually start my own foundation, but recently I've been looking into charities involving arts education in underfunded areas or anti-bullying campaigns. But eventually I'd also like to try public speaking, although that is much scarier to me than singing, and I have no idea why. If I could suggest one book, I would suggest The Wind-Up Bird Chronicle by Haruki Murakami. It really opened my mind up to this fantastical way of thinking. The book is just written so wonderfully, and it also really helped the way that I write music and the way that I narrate my music. It's just one of my favorite books. Who am I listening to now? Nick Cave, my old favorites, Nick Cave, Portishead, Beck, Massive Attack, and a lot of my new favorites, Leanne LaHavas, Moses Sumney. I'm really loving King Cruel. Just so many good new people, so many good old people to listen to. I have a lot of shows coming up. October 3rd, I'll be playing the Mondo Festival at the Well in Brooklyn. That's at 8:30. October 11th, I'm playing my first ever LA show, which I'm really excited about, at the Satellite. And then we have a very special performance coming up beginning of November that I can't wait to tell you about. And if you follow my socials at FREAQ, LFREAQ, you'll get a lot of sneak peeks. Thank you, Indie Witches, for allowing me to share my thoughts. It's amazing to see a female-fronted publication doing so well, and thank you for having FREAQ. Bye.